One of the meals I can make at any point in time is chicken soup. It is so versatile that I can make it in so many ways, and I will always have the items in my pantry to make it. In fact, I have shared 3 different varieties of chicken soup on my channel so far. I wanted to do a little experiment and see if I could figure out how to make the perfect chicken noodle soup and just how cheap I could get away with making it. I tested 2 different things in this video, changing up the amount of meat in each recipe, as well as the grain item used to bulk up the soup and make it more filling. I aim to answer these questions. How much meat do you really need in a chicken soup? What is the best grain to put into the soup? And how can you make the cheapest chicken soup that would still feed 4 to 6 people and leave them satisfied? For the answer to those questions, keep watching the video. If you're new here, I'm Samantha, creator of The Frugal Mom Life, where I share money-saving frugal tips that have helped my family of 5 live a more meaningful and happier life. I'm curious, how much chicken do you actually need to make a pot of chicken soup? I know a serving size is usually 4 ounces for one person, so it makes sense that 1 pound of chicken would be about 4 servings. But what confuses me is a can. Right here, I have a can of chicken, and it says, I don't know if you can see, 2 ounces, 2.5 servings, and a serving size is 2 ounces. So my question is, if a serving size, a usual serving size is 4 ounces, why does a can of chicken say a serving is 2 ounces? And how much chicken do you really need to make chicken soup? Because if we can stretch the chicken to make more servings, then we can feed more people. Let me see. This pounds. Maybe I should move it to ounces. Okay, that's a little over a pound. So that is a pound all together. Let me see what we have all together. That's ounces, milliliters, grams, pounds. So 1.7 pounds. That's nearly a whole pound less than when it was frozen, I think. I think it was 2.7 frozen. Okay, I'm going to take this back. Let's look at 1 pound. There we go, 4 ounces. So that's 1 serving. I'm going to divide that out because that's quite a bit. That's actually quite a bit if you ask me. Quite a bit of chicken. Yeah, 1 person could eat that, but I think we could definitely stretch it to feed at least 2, especially if we put it in a soup. I think I'm gonna see what 8 ounces looks like. Okay, there's 8 ounces. That's 2 servings. Okay, so here's my 8 ounces. Let's see what we have left. Ideally, I'd like to have a 16-ounce one, but I don't think we're gonna get that. We have like 15 ounces. Okay, I'm gonna call that 15 ounces. We'll round up a little bit. And so 2.7 pounds uncooked, 1.7 cooked. The question is how many servings, how many people can we serve with this meat? We have 4 ounces here, 8 ounces here, and 15 here. This 15 is a lot of chicken. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. I know these two I'm going to make into soup. Okay, I have 2 different noodles here. These were actually given to me together, so I'm trying to separate them. You can clearly see there's 2 different ones when you look at them together. I don't know. I'm assuming these are like a type of egg noodle, and then these are more like, are they rotini ones that are like that? No. Okay, so it is rotini that I was thinking of. These are like an egg noodle, I'm thinking, and these are more like rotini. So egg noodles are like the traditional, I feel like the traditional pasta noodle. So I'm gonna use those. I don't think I'm gonna use the rotini in this one. I do have a whole other thing that I have to go through and separate. So I'm gonna do that, and then, like I said, I plan on using the egg noodles in one of the recipes. The lady who gave me these didn't want to go through them. She realized that they were like a mix because she put all of her noodles in a container and she was going to throw them away. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I will take them. I will separate them. A noodle's a noodle to me. I will still use them. And I'm sure this will still taste delicious. Okay, so we have those and the rotini. I'm sure there's probably a couple rotini ones mixed in there, but I'm okay with that. A noodle's a noodle. It might cook a little different, but we'll live. Okay, let's see how much pasta we have here. I'm gonna bring my scale over, turn it on, and it's still on pound and ounces. This is like a similar one compared to that. I just wanna make sure we don't have the weight of the container. And then I'm just gonna dump this in. Oops. Hold on. Let me pick a few up. Okay, so we have 7 ounces, which isn't quite half a pound. So let's see what we can do with that. Okay, I also want to add some rice to one of the meals, one of the soups. I have a partial thing of rice here. This is one that was given to me. It was originally a pound, so I know we're not going to have quite a pound. Looks like we have a little over half a pound, 8.7 ounces there. So that's how much rice we have. I have one more idea, and I think to make it fair, I'm going to have to use about half a pound of this as well. Spaghetti noodles. I'm going to use up what's in this before I open a new one. So let's see if we can get half a pound. And for these, I'm going to break them up. We finally hit 8 ounces. That's about half of this. So we're at half a pound of spaghetti broken up. So this is going to be what I'm going to put in one of the soups as well. So I just want to show you bulk wise. These are all roughly half a pound. This is just when they're dry. Okay, we can compare them when they're all soaked up and cooked as well. But looking when they're dry, this is definitely looks like more. It's like the full container. That's a 32 ounce container. This is 24. So this one is a little bit smaller. the noodles and the rice. I think the noodles are bulked up just a little bit more than the rice, but not too much more. So there's the comparison when you look at the 3 of them dry. Along with that, I just want to show you some of my favorite things to add to soups, when I'm making soup. If you have these are both ones I got. I had given to me. People get them from free food and they get tired of eating them. I will add these into my homemade chicken soup when I make it. They add delicious flavor and they're just excellent additions to soup. Any kind of mixed vegetable. I like doing a canned 1 mixed vegetable, so you get a variety of veggies in there. This is a can that actually was given to me from someone who had gotten free food and wouldn't use it. This is one that I bought. Along with that, I will add another can of vegetables, so I add at least 2 cans of vegetables. And my favorite additions like that are either peas or carrots. I feel like they go great in a chicken soup. And if I don't want to use canned vegetables, I will use a bag of mixed vegetables. I didn't have any smaller bags in my freezer, but I did find this 2-pound bag of mixed vegetables. And this is big. This is like huge. You could totally make at least 2 soups out of this 1 bag. So I think when we're talking about if you're buying it yourself, if you're buying the veggies yourself and you're considering, well, do I want canned or frozen veggies? I think it comes down to the cost. I would think that the frozen ones would be less expensive than the canned. And again, you could use any kind of chicken. Use the fresh chicken like I just made. Use canned chicken. I think the better bang for your buck would be the fresh chicken because you're paying by the pound. Of course, you do lose poundage cooking as we just saw. And here you get 5 ounces. So even if I'll have to do the math, I'll do the math and see like how much it costs cooked, like considering how much weight is lost when you cook it versus a can. I'll have to do the math and see which one would actually be cheaper because I'm very curious. And then as far as flavorings, I do want to show you, you can use like one of these bouillon cubes. They add a lot of flavor for just a few cents. These are like $1, maybe a little more than $1 now at Walmart for 8 cubes. So it averages out to, I think, 14 cents per cube. But this stuff, don't mind my sticker. I do have to use this up rather soon. But this is a great one to use in soups as well. It is like the noodle soup flavor. It has the noodles in it. It is a little more costly than using these. I would think if you just take spaghetti and mix it up and then take one of these and add it in, it would be very similar to one of these. So just consider that. I think these are a little more expensive, but they do add a lot of flavor. One of these packets makes 4 cups, which is enough. It says 8 servings per container. There is 2 packets, so it would be 4 servings per packet. So the rice has a little bit more per weight than the noodles. I arranged them so that they're in order of weight, like more weight versus less weight. I'm trying to keep it kind of fair here so that we can get a good judgment based on like how much chicken is a good amount for the soups. So I'm gonna use, to keep it fair, I'm gonna use the highest amount with the least amount of chicken, and the lowest weight, which is the egg noodles, I'm gonna use that with the most amount of chicken. I did look and see that the rice has 5 servings for half a pound. I'll show you 10 ounces per container, so I used half a pound, which would have been half of that, so 5 servings for the half a pound. The noodles, this is the box from the spaghetti, and it says right there 16 servings per container. Serving size is 2 ounces. I had to look up the egg noodle one because I don't have a package for egg noodles. Okay, in the hopes of keeping this a fair experiment, I don't know how fair it's gonna be because I'm testing two things at once. I'm testing both the chicken to see like how much chicken you actually need to make a soup, to make a chicken soup, and I'm also testing like the different pastas to see which one goes best with the soup. Besides those two things, I want to try to keep everything else the same and fair. So I'm gonna measure out how much broth we have so that I can divide it equally amongst the three. So it looks like we have about 2 cups. Let me show you guys. I don't know if you can see very clear, but it is about 2 cups. That's 2/3 of a cup each. I wish I had more than 1 pot, but I really only have the one. I had to make sure which was which. So I'm gonna start off with the smallest, the 4 ounces of chicken. The first thing you're gonna do when you make chicken soup is your chicken, you're gonna cook that, and then of course you get your broth. And that's like the hardest part. The rest, you just throw everything in and let it cook. I am gonna like break this up. I want to show you when I get this all broken up how much chicken it actually is. I feel like chicken, when it's all like clumped together, it doesn't look like much, but once you get it all shredded, you can see like how much it actually is, and you can definitely get more servings out of it when it's shredded. And I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of this. I said I was gonna add the rice to that, so I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle that in there. Okay, so I only had one of those. I do have this though in my pantry, so I'm gonna add 2 cubes. This is actually a really good deal because 1 cube is actually, it says there's 8 cubes, but there's 16 servings. So 1 cube makes 2 cups. Whereas this stuff right here, there's 25 cubes. So it makes it look nice. Serving size 25. 1 cube is 1 cup. So you would need 2 of these cubes to equal one of the other ones. I'm just gonna drop these 2 cubes in, and then I'll add 2 cups, and that should be enough to like make it soupy. And I'll do that with the other 2 of them that I made as well. I wish I had more pots because then I could do them all at once. But unfortunately, this is like my best pot for soup making. So I'll just do them separate. Okay, 2 cups of water goes right in there. I'm gonna use my big bag of mixed veggies. We are looking at, ooh, they actually got it right, 2 pounds. Okay, so 2 pounds, which would be 32 ounces. That makes it about between 10 and 11 ounces per one. So I'm just gonna pour that right into the container if I can get it all out. There we go. Okay, and then let's see what's left in here. Hey, did I do the math wrong, guys? Maybe I did the math wrong. That's okay, because that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so let me add okay, so there's 10 ounces. Oh, I know what I did. I know what I did, guys. Dang it. 10.7, right? Okay, I'm gonna dump that right in the soup. Because 2.6, I'd have to do this. 11.2, see? And I have to make sure this is 10.7 too, because I did take a little bit out of here. There we go, 10.8, let's see. And 10.6, so that's just about perfect. Okay, so we have the veggies in there. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get this cooking. So my goal is to get 4 to 6 servings out of a thing of soup. Okay. This has been cooking on low for a little over a half hour. And I think we're about done. You could easily add some more broth to this. And I did taste it. That rice is about done. And if you take a look, you can see there's quite a bit of chicken. Like, you can see it broken up in different sections. And I definitely think there's like at least 4 servings in here, 4 decent servings. I'm gonna get a serving in a bowl for me because I'm hungry. It's about lunchtime. I didn't eat breakfast, so I'm gonna eat some of this. 2/3 cup of the broth, the veggies, the noodles, the chicken. Here's 2 cups of water, and not 1, but 2 things of bouillon cubes. Okay, here we are. I had to add like half a cup of water because we're sticking to the bottom, so I had to add about half a cup of water. I think we're done. I'm gonna try some of this one and then we'll move on to the next. I feel like I definitely should have started with 4 cups of water instead of just the 2. It for sure looks like a lot of food, and I think it'll definitely feed 4. No issue at all. I don't want all that much this time. I don't think I'm even gonna take quite a serving. I don't want that much chicken and not much for meat. Like I got in a little. Come on, give me some trouble. In hindsight, I wish I had added more broth and maybe even more flavor, but that's okay. We're on take 3. The chicken. And I'm just gonna break that up a little bit. Adding my bouillon cubes, my broth, noodles, 2 cups of water, and veggies. I feel like this one I might for sure have to add more water. Let's see, if I add 1 more cup, that'll be 3 cups total. Because last time I had to add an extra half a cup for it to even cook without sticking to the bottom. So I'm gonna see how that does. And that shouldn't change the flavor at all. It's just water. It might even evaporate. I'm gonna let that warm up and then we'll check back in. By the way, if you're looking for more ways to save money and budget so that you can save money effectively, you can download my free budget planner. I'll leave the link in the video description down below, so be sure to download your copy. Here's the cost of how much each version of these meals would cost to make. The rice is the cheapest option, while the egg noodles were the most expensive. While all of these meals were quite delicious, I think the egg noodle one was the best. Egg noodles have a very delicious flavor as it is, and they're different from the regular spaghetti noodles or other noodles and the rice. Both the egg noodles and the spaghetti noodles soaked up a lot of the juices from the soup, giving them a lot of flavor. And the rice one was just my least favorite, as it just didn't seem to have as much flavor as the noodle recipes did. I ended up taking a can of cream of chicken soup and adding it to the rice chicken soup one to add a little more flavor. In hindsight, I probably should have used the egg noodle in the soup that only had the 4 ounces of chicken. The egg noodles, I believe, swelled up more than like the broken spaghetti noodles or even the rice. Instead of putting the heaviest grain with the least amount of chicken, I should have paired the one that looked like it was the most, the one that was like bulked up more, with the 4 ounces of chicken. Additionally, I feel like I did not need 8 ounces of grain. I'm sure just 4 ounces would have sufficed well enough. These ended up being more like casseroles than they did soup because I think I used too much of the noodles and the rice. If you decide to make any versions of these soups, you could for sure turn them into a casserole. Also, I have made other soup videos that I have done on this channel. I have done different variations like adding dumpling like style biscuits on top. And I've also put the soup into like a pie to make it like a chicken pot pie. Both are excellent ideas if just to add a little variety or use up some of the leftovers if you have any. I'm going to make another video where I make the perfect ideal chicken noodle soup, and I'm going to include the math for all of the different chicken soups I made here and the breakdown of what would be the cheapest way to make the chicken soup. In that, I will also include the math breakdown of purchasing fresh ingredients versus the more convenient canned forms. I have already done some of the math, and I must say that I do find some of the results quite surprising. I love doing videos like this because things that I have always believed to be true get debunked, and I realized the truth is actually quite shocking. So this is part 1 of my chicken soup experiment. Look out for part 2 that will be coming in the next couple days. Until then, keep using your resources, and I'll see you in the next video. If you've liked this video, then please click that like button down below. And to never miss another video like this, make sure you're subscribed to the channel.